Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 5. Episode 5, that's right. UK 8 Post 31. Film review, that's right, none like this. And I'm your host, Mr. Dan Nostalgia. Today's film, The Fog, released on the 6th of November 1980 in the UK. Directed by John Carpenter. Screenplay written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. Cinematography by Dean Cundy. Starring Adrian Barbeau, Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kathy Williams, and Hal Holbrook. Music was composed by John Carpenter himself. Distributed by AVCO Embassy Pictures. Box office takings fell into 23.3 million from a 1.1 million budget. On the centenary year of Antonio Bay, the town finds itself cursed under a blanket of fog, while the secret about the town's past is discovered, a secret that the supernatural now seeks revenge and retribution. These ideas come from a visit to Stonehenge, witnessing the fog, moving along the landscape's hills and embankments. Sparking the idea for what followed, John soon began work on the concept and with pen to paper. The British film Trollenberg Tower, out in 1958, drew Carpenter to be inspired, the idea almost mirroring the plot and synopsis King's The Mist, that Thomas Jane starred in the film adaptation. The story regarding the wreckage and the looting of Elizabeth Dane derives from actual events. The wreckage of the Frolic, close to California, in the 19th century. Tom Laughlin films covered these events in Master Gunfighter in 1975. Almost bear resemblance to various stories, poems, and cinematography. George Buckflower featured regularly in Carpenter's films after appearing in The Fog, featured in Escape from New York, Starman, They Live, my favourite, one of mine, and The Village of the Damned. The original budget for the film was set for $900,000, but Hill said that reshoots were vital, since the competition within the same genre of films, being horror, had more blood and gore, which is true. So the film's budget was raised to 1.1 million. Most of the reshoots scenes made up 3/3 of the film's final act, adding to the charm, which I like. This don't suit everyone, but that's my preference. Within the years, the film had gained a cult following throughout the years, but not really being satisfied with the finished product. Carpenter soon greenlit the idea for the remake, which was set in 2005. Halloween grossed enough box office and had built enough reputation for Carpenter that he was offered a multi-picture deal with AVCO Embassy Pictures, including Escape from New York, with starring Kurt Russell. Michael Myers and Blake both having a common interest for vengeance, but both being different entities of vengeance. One being a ghost, Blake mainly, and Michael Myers being something else. You tell me, folks, what Michael Myers is. Edgar Allan Poe being Deborah Hill's favourite author. As you know, the film starts with a certain line. Carpenter spoke of his love for Lovecraft and the influence, and you can tell, or the hints of flavouring amongst the film on certain aspects, which helps really, because Lovecraft, you can't beat it. It's brilliant. It's amazing. Stevie Wayne being based on a strong heroine role, not panicking or sending out a distress call for help during their time in the final act. Which almost reminds me a bit of Ellen Ripley, Sigourney Weaver. Same thing. A woman can defend herself and she does it. Or doesn't send out a call. She's strong and stays that way. Full respect. Full respect. Certain wide shots were used as the film crew had to find ways to film and edit the project on set, especially concerning the fog machine, adding a mystery to the dead sailors. Now, I imagine there was probably people standing around just setting off a smoke machine, and of course the atmosphere was filling, but they had problems getting rid of the smoke, so there was ways they had to change that by reversing the shot. One of the films at the time around that era was Scanners, being one of the films both Carpenter and Hill admired. They weren't going for Scanners, but that was part of the blueprint for what they liked and wanted to incorporate, especially within the fog's concept. Carpenter collaborating with the usual suspects behind the scenes with Larry Franco, Deborah Hill, Dean Cundy, Jamie Lee Curtis, Adrian Barbeau, Tom Atkins, Dan O'Bannon, and Tommy Wallace, the usual crew. And I liked how he worked with certain people, because he worked with them on Escape from New York, The Thing, and many others, and Halloween. And I still got certain DVDs where these people names come up, and it's a regular thing. I've been seeing these names all my life, so it's a staple. It's a cornerstone to filmmaking. Filming locations took place in May 1979 in Point Reyes, Bolinas, Inverness, and Sierra Madre for external scenes. Internal scenes were filmed in Riley Studios in Hollywood, California. So obviously we got different locations and it looks like the same place. Love how Hollywood and the magic can work sometimes. Dean Cundy applying his magic to the cinematography, creating the eerie setting. It's the same with The Thing, the setting of the see that. Oh, gets me all excited when I'm thinking about how good some of these films are. I can't help it. So very shadowy, all suggestion, and we had still sorts of melodrama going on. I was a real fan of that sort of thing. Carpenter's words on Val Lewton produced horror I Walk with a Zombie in 1943 and The Isle of the Dead in 1945. So there's many inspirations for Carpenter too. Not just for The Fog, but Halloween, The Thing, Escape from New York, They Live, Prince of Darkness, vampires, loads of it. An early viewing of the film left Carpenter unhappy, describing it as terrible. John Horseman featured as Mr. Magan with his prologue introduction placed at the opening act. The story explained to the children being a guide to the tale. And I was watching an advert the other day, and I swear down there was a guy, Mr. Magan, and the guy looks like the Captain Birdseye. I'm not being disrespectful, but it was a 98 point chance that this likeness was there. It was too good. very canny. The synthesizers and the drone music carried scenes in the film, which I do love. I have to say, 28 Days Later, the music really goes with it. Carpenter's musical score really engages with the film's tone, music shifting from an A minus to a B major and hints of a flat pitch, all creatively composed and then used in the right way. It's the same with Escape from New York, The Thing, They Live. The music has its own life, it breathes. Hat off to Carpenter for his musical talents. Reasons for the choice of the release date being due to less box office competition in that month compared to the Christmas run-in of '79. Fearing failure after investing over $3.3 million in promotion, advertising and television slots. This decision was made by the president of AVCO Embassy Pictures. So yeah, that was their thing. Dean Cundy's involvement was monumental, not only towards The Fog, but other film projects with Carpenter, including two of my damn nostalgia personal favourites, Escape from New York and The Thing. I truly love this, and Boo, he loved this. Jamie Lee Curtis being the face of after the original poster had failed to bring in audiences. After her success in Halloween, they put her face not only just as an attractive face, but to bring in the audience. Worked in my book. Worked for me. So I'm going to go into my provocative notion on this. Numero uno. In the aftermath of The Fog, what were the responses around Antonio Bay and the survivors? What was the vibe? Did they learn the truth about the town's founders? Was it revealed? Or did it remain a mystery? That is something that was Carpenter's never spoke on. Was the aftermath of these characters, what happened? So, we can always find that out, can't we, folks? Yes, we can. Because I got a conclusion for that. A provocative notion, numero dos, is the gold coin on the rocks. Before turning into a piece of driftwood, the Elizabeth Dane engraved in it, and the story Nick Castle telling of his father and his crew had come across a ship with a deserted ship with a hot meal and coffees, but come across gold doubloon, which he had put in his pocket, zipped up and taken home to show his son. And when he got home, he explained the story, and the money disappeared from the currency, disappeared from his pocket. Were they the same currency though? Where is it the same currency? Did it come from the same part of the sea where Blake's ship had crashed? And was it part of Blake's lost fortune that was left at sea from his betrothed? I would love to know, but say we can come back to that in a bit, don't worry. Going to this one now. Carpenter struck a deal with AVCO Embassy Pictures for a two-picture deal. One, obviously, the first being The Fog, and the second being Escape from New York, which was released in 1981. So Carpenter was a busy man for it. The first part of the 80s, right up until then, Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, The Thing. Yeah, hard working, man. That's what pays off. You keep doing that. That's what pays off. Mr. Mackin being the reference to Arthur Mackin, a Welsh horror fantasist. Now, it's great that he pays tribute to pays tribute to this guy. Like I said, it's the Captain Birdseye figure, but hey, I'm sorry about that. I'm Welsh myself, and yes, that's a big honour. That's a big honour to hear that. I'm glad that there's acknowledgement, and there's a big fan respect even from me. So yeah, to Arthur Macken and John Carpenter, that nostalgia gives you a big round of respect, and your flowers. You deserve it. Thank you. Fabio, first featured in Someone's Watching Me. One that Sam Rockwell, got the feeling somebody's watching me. Yeah. Before playing the radio DJ, Stevie Wayne's character. Ahoy there, mateys. And the remake, again, as I spoke briefly on, in 2005, starring Tom Welling from Smallville. My brother's favourite show back in the days. Shout out to my brother, Nate. And the film made 46.2 million in US dollars, scoring poorly on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes and Letterboxd. I'd watched the film a few times and I was disappointed with the ending, but I'm not going to say nothing. I'll let you watch that, folks. Not even Superman could save the day on this one. Should have mentioned this problem to Black Adam or Dr. Fate. Maybe you could have got somewhere. Maybe Shazam. In February of 2021, as I said earlier, John Carpenter spoke of a sequel to the 1980 film, still in early developments according to Screen Rant's, Movie Web, Bloody Disgusting, and Joe Blow, along with other sources. I have checked my sources. They always say check your sources. Tom Atkins, being cast as Nick Castle through Adrian, went on to feature in other Carpenter films over the years. And one of the films I thought he was good in was it Prom Nights, the horror, black comedy, and the Howling werewolf film. I remember that one with the mother, with the woman he co-starred with in that. I can't remember her name, but she was in Poltergeist. Was it Poltergeist? Correct me on that if I'm wrong, folks. I'm just blabbing there. Jamie Lee Curtis found fame in the horror hit film Halloween in 1978, directed by John himself, becoming one of the hierarchy among screen queens of horror, and confessed to love working with Carpenter on whatever multiple projects he had and he could bring it in, but stepped away from her comfort zone in 1983 to star alongside one of my favourite comedians is not Richard Pryor. I love Richard Pryor, he's one of my favourite, he's number one, but Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd in Frank Oz's classic comedy remake, Trading Places. I love Trading Places. God. Yeah, Trading Places is a classic. Jamie Lee Curtis, she kills it in that. And she stepped into the comfort zone. And she really did go to town on that one. And yeah, brilliant performance. Excellent film. We love Jamie Lee Curtis. We love you. We really do. Yes, we do. The Fog had a theatrical run of 152 weeks, with a majority of the box office coming in from the United States and Canada, Canadians. So, I'm not sure what happened within the European side and the UK market. Critics stating the film's lack of effects for story, considering many others had followed this route. Carpenter delivered something else. Others spoke highly of the film, being praised over Carpenter's previous horror project, Halloween, which Halloween is just, it's kind of basic. Let's be honest, it's a classic, but it's kind of basic. That's kind of how it goes. But I prefer the story over the effects. Sometimes you can have too much effects, and if you haven't got a story that can balance it, where's it going? The Fog documentary highlights and reflects on the film's concept greatly. The original and the anniversary documentary on DVD, Blu-ray and 4K additional special. But it really does go into detail from both angles, and yeah, this is worth watching. I've watched it on multiple occasions. Always a good chance to listen to John Carpenter tell you about his mind and what he's thinking. Tell me, please, I love hearing it. John Carpenter is a film director, screenwriter, producer, actor, composer, musician, and all round just deserves one big round of applause. That is amazing. Multi-talented and kills it. The list of hits for John goes down this road. Assault on Precinct 13, which is my nan and my mother's favourite. I love this film too. Didn't mind the remake, but original always does it. Christine, yes. In the Mouth of Madness, yes. Halloween, don't mind Halloween. Escape from New York, yes. The Thing, yes. The Ward, I ain't seen that, still on my watch list. Ghost of Mars, I didn't mind that. Dark Star, Lockout, They Live, Big Trouble in Little China. Well, it's all in the reflexes. So John, you know it's all there. So when you create Jack Burton, you just created a legendary character. So it's already engraved in my DNA of this man's films. But why is it stomach pounder? So can't get any clear answer, or maybe it's an inside joke. Don't sound healthy. Oof, stomach pounder. It's a punch on Mike Tyson, maybe. Overall review. Well, let's be crystal clear about this. John Carpenter isn't good. He isn't a good director at all, in my honest opinion. I'm being dead honest with you. He ain't good. He isn't, guys. Again, let's be clear. John Carpenter is one of the greatest visual storytelling visionaries of his generation. Create not only just one, but creating multiple horror genre of entertainment for decades. His concept for the story, rather than mindless violence, separates him from other names, but is and will be held within high regard. When you've directed Halloween, The Fog and The Thing, they should crown him the greatest. This film delivers without fail on a pure suspenseful level. The suspense, the synopsis, the characters, the setting, and the eerie presence from beyond the fog that culminate everything about this film. Carpenter and his supreme dream team all deserve praise for The Fog, but many others that's all credited to this man's CV. Considering I've seen this film on multiple occasions, I could almost recite this script over and over. Delved into the documentaries inside out and turned it inside out and over, and I still enjoy watching this classic horror again, again and again. And I'm going to rate this a 4.5 out of 5. So, getting to my last segment of the day. What have you been watching? Recently, I have been watching Game of Thrones, House of Dragons. I failed to catch it on Sky Atlantic, but I have been catching up with it online, and I'm enjoying what I've seen, considering I'm not big on the Yes, it's a serious character. I felt that the daughter had more influence. The brother was more ruthless. He always seemed to lack something. But I've been enjoying it so far. Tell me what you think, folks. Honestly. I did also go to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp. Of course. Yes, I enjoyed the film, to be honest with you. I could have thought that maybe the ending could have been different, not giving any spoilers away. But I'm not sure what's going to happen next with this phase 5 of Marvel. Hopefully they take it in the right direction. So, yeah. And last but not least, yes, I also watched Halloween Ends with executively produced by John Carpenter, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, which I didn't think was too bad. It was different. So, that's how it's been, and that's how it's gone. So, how's your week been then, folks? And I'd like to know. Please get back to me. Like, subscribe, get notified, and sign up. Please join up. This is UK 8 Post. I've been your host, Dan Nostalgia. UK 8 Post out.